Hi, this is George Miller from the Buffalo Bill, Center of the West. Today we're talking about the Grand Tetons. They're not very long. They're only about 40 miles long, but they certainly make up for it in height. The highest peak in the Tetons is the Grand at 13,775 feet or 4,199 meters. Well, it's all due to the Teton Fault, my favorite fault. The Teton Fault has been active for only about 9 million years. So these are relatively young mountains, the youngest mountains we've talked about thus far. And the displacement has been huge over those 9 million years. There are sedimentary rocks at the top of Mount Moran, Flathead Sandstone, that's buried 20,000 feet below in the valley. So there's been a displacement of about 25,000 feet over those 9 million years. You can see the Snake River coursing through the valley, and the valley falls down as the mountains rise up. So we're waiting for Jackson to fall in elevation and the Tetons to rise in elevation. If you'd bought real estate in Jackson 9 million years ago, you would have got a great deal because there would have been no mountains here. Well, here's a intrusion into Mount Moran. That black line is diabase that came up later. So these rocks are very ancient rocks, about 2.5 billion years old. They're nice. And that intrusion came in later. So that was magma that came into and infiltrated those rocks at a later date. It's a very impressive intrusion. We've seen intrusions at other places in our travels. Well, there are some very young rocks as well. The northern end of the range has 2.1 million year old Huckleberry Ridge tuft. Here's beautiful Jenny Lake. Little glacial lakes have been sculpted by glaciers. So glaciers have played their part in sculpting this area as well. The Bull Glaciation and the Pinedale Glaciation in particular. Here's beautiful String Lake and those gorgeous water lilies. You can see some glaciers still hanging on in the high country. Those are permanent snowfields and glaciers on the Tetons, and they get an incredible amount of snow. Water or moisture is entrained up the Snake River plain and drops on the east side and the west side of this range in huge amounts. Well, we're looking at glacial moraines right now. The remains of glaciers where they've dropped their load at the end of their lives, and they are heavily forested because they've held the nutrients. The rest of the nutrients have been kind of washed away by the Snake River, and we have huge flats of sagebrush that don't retain. They're just cobbles. They don't retain as much nutrient. Well, I'll leave you here with Jackson Lake, the beautiful scene. If you're enjoying this series, please subscribe to the Buffalo Bill Center of the West YouTube page.